Wind whipped brittle shutters when I returned. Dusk bled across crumbling sidewalk. Familiarity betrayed me. Porch lights, once welcoming, flickered like dying stars. My boots crunched old leaves carpeting the stoop. I reached for my keys, heart hammering confusion through my ribs. Inside, laughter cracked walls. Her laughter. Eleanor's. High, cruel. The melody, once precious, now sliced my guts. I pushed open the door. There they sat, Eleanor sprawled across emerald cushions, wearing my favorite shirt, her thighs bare. Beside her, Raymond lounged smug. Her brother. To his left, Veronica, their cousin, twirled her wineglass lazily, emeralds flashing. Uncle Patrick perched atop my leather armchair, smoking a thick cigar, muddy boots staining pristine upholstery. My world tilted. Eleanor's icy gaze pierced my flesh. She didn't blink. "You're early," she said, pouting. I swallowed gravel. "This is my house." Veronica snickered. "Was, sweetheart." Raymond kicked his feet onto the coffee table. "Lawyer dropped the papers off an hour ago." "Papers?" I stumbled toward the oak desk. No photographs remained. No framed memories. No wedding portrait. Empty. Patrick puffed thick smoke into my face. "Time's up, boy. You can't do this." My voice, thin, trembled. Eleanor stretched lazily, yawning. "I can." I did. "You signed everything over last month, remember?" My mind raced backward, boozy nights, whispered promises, kisses laced with gin. She'd stroked my hair, murmuring about trust, about starting fresh. I'd signed blindly, stupidly, thinking love needed no paperwork. I never suspected betrayal. Raymond rose, towering over me, breath sour. "We suggest you leave before we call the cops." Veronica's laughter bubbled. Eleanor smirked. I nodded. I dropped my keys onto the floor, the sound sharp, final. I turned away. Each step burned. Fingers twitched for non-existent weapons. Pride demanded a battle. Love begged mercy. Cold air slapped my face outside. Twilight pressed heavy against sagging street. My breath fogged broken glass, scattered across cracked pavement. I remembered the first night Eleanor pulled me into this house. Her lips tasted like cherries, whiskey, mischief. Her thighs gripped my hips, dragging me upstairs, leaving a trail of abandoned clothes across the hallways. She whispered sins against my ear, promising forever. Now she laughed inside, safe, victorious. I trudged toward the car. Empty tank. Figures. Eleanor drained everything. I left the driveway, my shadow stretching long across crumbling concrete, disappearing beneath indifferent stars. 3 blocks away, I stumbled into Rosie's. The dive bar buzzed low, tired men hunched over scuffed countertops, sticky floors catching broken boot. Neon buzzed overhead. I collapsed onto a stool. "Whiskey," I rasped. Rosie's familiar figure appeared, pouring generous amber liquid without question. "Tough night, kid?" she asked, wiping the counter with a rag dirtier than the floor. I grunted. "Sit." Burned. Memories clawed inside my skull. Eleanor's breathless gasps, Eleanor's nails raking my back, Eleanor's moans whispering through sleepless nights. All lies. Rosie leaned closer, studying my face. "Wanna talk?" I shook my head. Talking wouldn't fix empty bank accounts, vanished homes, gutted hearts. But whiskey dulled the ache, if only slightly. Hours blurred. Glasses multiplied. Names forgotten. Faces twisted. At some point, a woman slinked onto the seat beside me, blonde, dangerous, smiling like a snake. "Bad night," she purred. I didn't answer. She touched my knee, nails sharp. Her perfume, heavy jasmine, musk, wrapped around my senses, suffocating grief beneath lust. Maybe it was revenge. Maybe it was despair. Maybe it was stupidity. Either way, I let her lead me outside, into the back alley, behind dumpsters reeking of rot and spilled dreams. She pushed me against the bricks, kissing fiercely, hungrily, like drowning men gasping for air. I grabbed her hips, fingers digging hard enough to bruise. Heat surged through my veins. This wasn't love. This wasn't connection. This was survival. Later, naked beneath threadbare motel sheets, I stared at cracked ceilings, listening to the stranger snore softly beside me. Regret twisted my gut. Not because of her. Not because of Eleanor. Because somewhere inside, I still hoped Eleanor would come running, apologize, beg forgiveness. Fool. I rose quietly, dressing in yesterday's clothes, pocketing my last crumpled bills. I didn't wake her. Didn't leave a note. Didn't look back. Morning found me wandering through unfamiliar street. Industrial smoke painted the horizon. Gray bleak. I needed answers. How had Eleanor planned this? How had I missed every sign? I needed proof. Proof for myself, even if I couldn't salvage anything legally. I circled back toward our old neighborhood, moving cautiously, blending with early joggers, dog walkers. Our house, my house, loomed ahead, unfamiliar now, like a castle belonging to another life. Through the front window, I glimpsed Eleanor, half naked, sprawled across Raymond's lap. My stomach heaved. They weren't even pretending. Her hands roamed his chest freely, laughter bubbling up like champagne. Patrick smoked on the porch, shotgun across his knees, daring anyone to challenge their stolen empire. I melted into shadows, bile rising. They hadn't just taken things. They'd taken dignity. Revenge doesn't bloom quietly. It roars, igniting every nerve ending, consuming reason. I abandoned sleep, sanity, and hesitation. Instead, I crafted madness. Every second since they smirked, stole, spat upon everything I'd built, burned like acid through my veins. Rosie knew something was different when I returned the next day, face shaved clean, hair slicked back, wearing the same wrinkled clothes. Eyes feral, hands trembling, not from fear, but anticipation. "You're gonna do something stupid," she warned, sliding another drink. I offered a hollow smile. "Not stupid," I muttered. "Necessary." Outside, summer storms rolled across the skyline, crackling power through the clouds. Perfect. First, I needed an army. And ironically, my army wore high heels, red lipstick, low-cut dresses. Natalia, former flame. Sabrina, another bitter ex-Eleanor once accused me of seeing, though I hadn't then. Lucinda, waitress from Rosie's, curves like dangerous roads. Desperate, beautiful, ruthless women. All willing. All angry. All bored enough to help. We met at an abandoned warehouse downtown. Rain hammered broken windows, puddles reflecting lightning flashes. I laid it out simply. I want her humiliated. Publicly. Painfully. They listened, licking crimson lips, eyes shining with mischief. Natalia smirked first. "You want her broken?" "Crushed," I hissed. Lucinda leaned closer, perfume overwhelming mildew. "And you'll owe us?" "I'll owe everything," I said. They laughed. Plans formed between us like smoke curling from bonfires. Seduction. Exposure. Destruction. Later that night, I watched from shadows as Natalia approached Raymond's car outside some grimy dive. Short dress. High heels. Fake tears. Textbook. He folded instantly, offering comfort inside warm leather seat. Minutes later, she was straddling him, lipstick smeared across his jaw, her nails scraping down his chest. Camera flashes lit the darkness, capturing every angle. Proof. Veronica wasn't spared either. Sabrina targeted her at a spa, sauna sweat glistening across smooth skin. A little flirting. Some touching. Subtle photograph. Blackmail ready. Even Patrick fell. Lucinda coaxed him into a seedy motel with promises of youth, fertility, dirty things whispered against graying ears. Disgust curdled my stomach watching that footage later, but satisfaction drowned nausea. Piece by piece, I pulled their perfect little world apart. Brick by brick. Kiss by kiss. But Eleanor. She needed something bigger. Worse. Personal. It happened 2 nights later. Rosie's bar overflowed. Weekend crowds. Loud music. Cheap beer. I sat at the end, nursing whiskey, pretending indifference. Eleanor entered wearing sin itself. Tight red dress, stiletto heels, hair cascading down her back like spilled ink. My heart betrayed me, skipping painfully. She scanned the room, eyes sharp, hunting. She found me instantly. Smiled. Predator spotting prey. She slid onto the stool beside me, skin brushing mine. You look good, stranger, she purred, voice dripping venom. I didn't respond. Let her work. Let her fall into the trap. You miss me? She whispered, nails tracing invisible patterns along my forearm. I exhaled smoke into her face, shrugging. I've been busy. Doing what? She asked, batting lashes. Upgrading. Her smile faltered slightly. I turned toward her, finally meeting those sapphire eyes, the ones that once promised eternity. Tell me, Elle, I said softly. Did you ever love me? Her pupils dilated slightly. Confusion flickered. Then coldness. Love's overrated, she said. There it was. The confession. The knife twisting deeper. I laughed, long and bitter. Finished my drink. Good, I said. Because you're about to find out what hate feels like. I stood, tossing crumpled bills across the counter. Walked away. Left her gaping behind me. That same night, my secret army leaked the footage. Screenshot. Videos. Voice recordings. Everywhere. Facebook. Instagram. Twitter. Emails blasted to friends, employers, clubs. Raymond naked in the car. Veronica grinding against Sabrina in a sauna. Patrick's wrinkled flesh tangled with Lucinda's fake moans. Their reputations imploded overnight. Lawsuits threatened. Jobs disappeared. Invitations revoked. Police investigations opened. Chaos reigned. I watched from motel sheets, sipping cheap coffee, smiling as the storm swallowed them. But still, not enough. Eleanor remained. Beautiful. Defiant. I needed finality. 2 days later, she showed up. Pounding on Rosie's door at midnight. Rain soaked her red dress to transparency, hair plastered against cheek. Rosie motioned toward the back, handing me a baseball bat just in case. I approached cautiously. Eleanor's mascara streaked down her cheeks, turning her into something monstrous. You bastard, she shrieked. I said nothing. You think you can ruin me? I shrugged. You ruined yourself. You'll pay for this, she screamed. I already did, I said quietly, voice flat. You loved me, she sobbed, fists hammering my chest weakly. I loved who I thought you were, I corrected. Silence stretched between us. Thunder rumbled. I can fix this, she whispered finally, desperation bleeding through bravado. How? Her hands slid downward, tugging my belt. Old habits. Old weapons. My body betrayed anger, responding to her heat. Lust blurred vengeance. I spun her, slamming her against the wall. Kissed her brutally, punishingly. She moaned against my mouth, legs wrapping around my hip. We tore at clothing like animals, nails raking, teeth biting. This wasn't love. It wasn't even hate anymore. It was need. Raw. Broken. Filthy. Afterward, she lay gasping, naked against cold concrete, bruises blooming across porcelain skin, lipstick smeared across my chest. She smiled wickedly. You're mine, she whispered. No, I said, standing. You're nothing. I dressed slowly, savoring her rage. Walked away. Left her shivering, weeping, cursing my name under broken neon lights. Outside, dawn crept across the world, indifferent to destroyed kingdoms. Rosie leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. You good? She asked. For now, I said. But deep down, I knew this war wasn't over. Not yet. Not until I buried every last one of them beneath their own sins. Dawn broke jagged across the skyline, tearing night apart with cruel fingers. I didn't sleep. Couldn't. Memories poisoned every second, Eleanor's breathless gasps still ringing in my ears, the heat of her body branded against my skin like a curse. It hadn't been revenge. It hadn't been closure. It had been weakness. I stared at my reflection in Rosie's cracked bathroom mirror, haunted, hollow, unfamiliar. The man who once built dreams inside white picket fences no longer existed. This version of me, he craved ruin. And he wasn't finished. I needed distance. Rosie handed over her spare keys without asking questions. Cabin's empty, she said. Go. Figure yourself out before you burn everything down, including yourself. I nodded, pocketed the keys, packed nothing. Let them have my old life. I would forge something worse. Something untouchable. Hours later, dirt roads kicked dust clouds around rusted tires as I pulled up to Rosie's forgotten hunting cabin. Wood splintered from decades of storms. Weeds choked stone pathways. Crows perched on sagging fences, watching silently. Perfect. Isolation wrapped around me like a second skin. Nights dragged. Whiskey dulled nothing. Hunger gnawed bones. Ghosts clawed walls. Every creak, whisper, memory bled Eleanor's name. I couldn't escape. Not truly. One evening, headlights slashed across the cabin's windows. I froze. Footsteps crunched gravel. I gripped the bat Rosie lent me, heart hammering against ribs. A knock. Soft. Deliberate. I opened the door cautiously. There she stood, not Eleanor. Someone else. Younger. Wilder. Black leather jacket. Short skirt. Combat boot. Tattoos crawling up toned thighs. Her smile dripped mischief. You must be him, she said, voice like smoke curling against silk sheets. Who sent you? Rosie, she replied. Said you might need company. What's your name? Jade. Of course it was. Because nothing pure ever came dressed like that. Jade didn't wait for an invitation. She pushed past me, hips swaying, perfume clashing against damp wood rot. I don't do charity, she said, tossing a duffel onto the couch. You want me? You pay. I should have said no. I should have kicked her out. I didn't. Instead, I poured 2 glasses. Whiskey for her. Oblivion for me. We sat across rickety tables, studying each other like predators circling bloody water. She talked, stories half-true, laughter sharp enough to cut. I listened, silent, broken, dangerous. By midnight, words weren't necessary. She stood, stripped, deliberate, defiant. I followed, desperate, damned. Skin slapped skin. Sweat slicked muscles. Breathless curses filled the tiny cabin. I wasn't gentle. Neither was she. This wasn't passion. It wasn't even pleasure. It was punishment. Self-inflicted. We broke furniture. We shattered windows. We carved sins across bruised bodies. Morning sunlight found us tangled across threadbare mattresses, sheets kicked onto dirty floors, bruises painting pale skin, scratches mapping new territories across flesh. Jade stirred first, stretching lazily like a satisfied cat. You're fun, she said. I grunted. She laughed, rolling atop me. You're trouble. You have no idea, I muttered. Try me, she whispered against my throat. 4 days, we didn't leave the cabin. We drank, fucked, fought, slept, repeat. Reality dissolved into haze. Pain blurred into pleasure. Names meant nothing. Time disappeared. Only primal instincts remained. One night, I caught her snooping through my duffel bag. Looking for something? I asked, voice low. She shrugged unapologetically. Habit. I grabbed her wrist, squeezing hard. She winced but didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned closer, biting my jaw gently. Dangerous. Volatile. Perfect. I kissed her hard enough to split lips. She laughed, tasting blood. Still, part of me remembered. Part of me whispered warnings. Jade wasn't salvation. She was gasoline on already raging fires. I embraced it. Let it consume everything. Meanwhile, back in the city, Eleanor's empire crumbled. Natalia sent me screenshots daily. Court dates, foreclosure notices, restraining orders filed. Raymond skipped bail. Patrick fled town. Veronica begged friends for cash online, her desperation viral entertainment. Karma spun quickly, efficiently, and I reveled in every second. But Eleanor, she didn't break. She evolved, adapted, survived. Somehow, she clawed her way into another rich man's bed, a CEO twice her age, thrice her stupidity. Married within weeks. Moved into penthouses overlooking poisoned rivers. Smiling wide in glossy tabloids, pretending none of the past existed. I stared at those pictures long after Jade fell asleep across my chest, soft snores vibrating against bruised ribs. Bitterness twisted guts into knots. Was this enough? Had I won? Or had she simply shifted victories? Jade stirred. Mumbled something against my skin. I stroked tangled hair absently. Lost in thought. Lost in rage. Lost in regret. Maybe Rosie was right. Maybe I was burning everything, including myself. Maybe I liked the fire too much to stop. Morning brought decisions. I kissed Jade goodbye without waking her. Left a note. Thank you for reminding me I'm still alive. J. Loaded stolen cash into battered trunks. Started the engine. Left dust swirling behind me as sunrise bled across forgotten highways. My destination? The city. The penthouse. The woman who destroyed everything. I wasn't finished. Not yet. Not until Eleanor looked into my eyes and saw the same thing she once gave me. Nothing. The city never forgave. It pretended. Painted fresh makeup over crumbling scars. Built new towers upon broken dreams. But underneath? Rot. Always rot. I drove toward Eleanor's glittering prison, skyscrapers slicing dying sky. Headlights blurred across rain-slick street. Horn blast. Shouts. Laughter. Curses. All background noise. Inside silence. Focused. Hungry. Finding her wasn't difficult. The rich flaunt vulnerability better than the poor hide pain. Her address flashed across social feeds. Parties, galas, fundraisers. Tonight's event. Some charity ball promising hope for orphan children. Irony never tasted sweeter. I dressed the part. Borrowed black suit. Stolen tie. Polished shoes. Walked through gilded doors unnoticed. Weaved through glittering crowds clutching champagne flutes, hiding sins behind diamond necklaces and plastic smiles. Hollow laughter ricocheted off marble columns. Empty promises floated beneath golden chandeliers. No one noticed me. Nobody cared. Perfect. Then I saw her. Eleanor. Glowing. Untouchable. Radiant. Wearing a backless emerald dress, skin shimmering beneath soft lights, hair cascading across bare shoulders like velvet rivers. She leaned into her new husband, silver-haired titan of commerce, bloated with money and arrogance. They laughed together, oblivious. Rage tightened fists. Breath caught. For a moment doubt whispered. Maybe walking away was still possible. Maybe peace waited somewhere down forgotten roads. Maybe. Then her eyes met mine. And she smiled. Not in recognition. In dismissal. Like I was nobody. Dust. An afterthought. Something inside me shattered. Again. I moved. Past waiters balancing crystal trays. Past sycophants clinking glasses. Past velvet ropes guarding false royalty. Straight toward her. Security noticed finally, shifting uneasily. Too late. I reached Eleanor. Took her hand. Pressed lips against delicate knuckles. She froze. Recognition flickered. Confusion clouded sapphire gaze. Hello, darling, I whispered. Her mouth opened. No sound escaped. Before she could react, I slid a velvet box into her palm. Stepped back. Melted into shadows. Inside that box? Proof. Videos. Photos. Emails. Confessions. Her family's fall, tied neatly with black ribbons and silver bullets. Irrefutable. Unforgivable. I watched from distance as she opened it. Saw color drain from perfect cheek. Saw panic bloom. Saw new husband frown, lean closer, demand answers. Saw her tremble, stutter, flail. Saw confusion spread like wildfire among wealthy parasite. Questions. Whispers. Phones snapping photos. News traveling faster than thought. Collapse unfolding beautifully. I turned away. Mission accomplished. Burden lifted. Heart lighter. Maybe. Maybe not. Outside, rain sheeted across asphalt, baptizing cracked sidewalk. I welcomed it, letting it soak suit, hair, skin. Cold. Clean. Final. But fate wasn't finished. Not yet. Hey! Voice sharp. Familiar. I turned. Eleanor stood barefoot, dress clinging to soaked curves, mascara streaking pale cheek. Chased me across parking lots like wounded ghosts. You think this fixes anything? She screamed. No, I said simply. It ends you too, she hissed. I'm already ended. You loved me, she cried. I loved a lie. Thunder split heavens. She rushed forward, fists pounding my chest. I made you. You unmade me, I corrected. I can fix it. No, I said, grabbing her wrists, pushing gently away. You can't fix ashes. I hate you, she spat. I smiled sadly. Good. Without warning, Eleanor kissed me. Hard. Desperate. Savage. Teeth clashing. Tongues warring. Rain mingling with salt. Old habits dying ugly death. For a heartbeat, I kissed back. Remembered everything, honeymoon promises, shared laughter, whispered dreams beneath shared blankets. Then I remembered betrayal. Smirks as they kicked me out. And I pulled away. You're poison, I said. Her eyes glistened, fury and heartbreak battling across flawless features. I hope you rot, she whispered. I already did. She stood there, trembling, rain painting her a tragic masterpiece. I walked away. Didn't look back. Couldn't. If I did, I might stay. Might forgive. Might die. I drove until city lights faded behind cracked windshield. Drove until gas tanks emptied. Drove until dawn clawed bloody fingers across eastern skies. Found myself back at the cabin eventually. Desolate. Abandoned. Waiting. Like everything else in my life. Rosie sat on the porch, smoking cheap cigarettes, watching mist roll across forgotten woods. Done? She asked. I nodded. Collapsed beside her. Stared at nothing. Listened to silence. Breathed. Existing. Barely. She handed over another cigarette. I lit it. Inhaled bitter smoke. Coughed. Laughed. Coughed harder. She laughed too, warm and broken. You look like shit, she said finally. Feel worse, I admitted. She shrugged. Means you're still alive. Maybe. We sat there until sunlight burned morning fog away. No words necessary. Shared brokenness said enough. Eventually, Rosie asked, What now? I thought about it. Long and hard. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe rebuild. Maybe disappear. Maybe wander until forgetting became possible. Maybe never heal. Maybe heal wrong. Did it even matter anymore? You could stay, Rosie said quietly. Voice tentative. Hopeful. Afraid. I glanced sideways. Caught vulnerability hiding behind defiance. Realized she wasn't offering charity. She was offering herself. Something real. Something undeserved. Maybe it wasn't too late. Maybe. I stubbed cigarette into cracked wood. Stood. Held out a hand. Let's find out, I said. Rosie smiled. Took it. Held tight. Refused letting go. Not love. Not yet. Not forgiveness either. But something new. Something surviving fire. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. Behind us, city towers crumbled unseen. Ahead, endless forests waited. Silent. Watching. Forgiving. I didn't look back. Not once.